Hello there everyone, and welcome back for another Farming Simulator 17 tutorial. And today we're going to be learning about farming and field care. Now there's two different ways you can play this game. Now if I press the escape button and I go over to game settings, you can play this one of two ways. You can play it like it was in Farming Simulator 15, and the plowing basically was off for that. Now in Farming Simulator 15 you didn't have to plow your fields at all. There was no real purpose for the plow unless you wanted to combine like two small fields or just mess around and try to square off a field, make it more square if it was shaped awkwardly. But besides that, you did not have to plow your fields. All you had to do was cultivate it, seed it, fertilize it, and then you can leave it like that until it was ready to harvest. Then you can harvest it. Now you can play this game the same way. What you would do is turn your plowing off and keep your fertilizer states at 1. Now in this new edition they changed that so it's more in depth. You can turn that on, and what that means is every third time you harvest your fields, you're going to have to replow them to get 100% yield from your crops. So if you turn that on, every third time you harvest a field you will have to plow it again. So usually in the other one you only had to fertilize your fields one time. Well, they changed that to 1 or 3. Now if you have both of these on, what you're going to have to do is plow your field every 3 harvests, and every time you plant on your field you're going to have to fertilize for each stage of growth. Each stage will produce 33% yield, or 30%, sorry, it's 30% yield for each fertilization state. So if you fertilize it the first time, and that's all you did, you'd get 30% out of 100 as far as crop goes. If you did it twice, you get 60%, and if you did it 3 times, like you're supposed to, you'll get 90% yield from that. Now to get 100% productivity you have to plow, so there's where your other 10% is coming from. So when you're setting up your game, if you're new to the game, I would advise that you turn your plant withering off. And what that means is once your plants mature and they're ready for harvest, if you can't get to them right away, they will eventually wither and rot, and it's basically a wasted product and you miss out on that. There's nothing you can do. It's wrote off basically. So if you're new to the game, I would turn that off just for now and put your plant growth on normal, unless you want it to grow faster, but normally that's on normal. So just keep that in mind. So as far as fields go, there's 5 different categories of the dirt. Now that's what it looks like when you plow it. And that's only once every 3 harvests that you have to do that, like I said. Then you'll cultivate it, and what that does is it basically pats it down, but it loosens up the first layer so seed could be put onto it and it'll penetrate down. The plowing's more to loosen up deep down in the ground so the roots can grow. So yes, you cultivate and that prepares it for seeding. Then you grab a seeder and you start putting seed down, and that's what the field looks like after you seed it. Then you're going to want to fertilize that seed. So this is the next stage in the process of farming. Grab your fertilizer and you put that down, and that's what it'll look like. Now some of these machines, as you go up in price, they'll do 2 things at once. You can get some seeders that will cultivate at the same time. So basically these 2 steps here are being done at once, and that one there only has to be done once in a while. And then there is some seeders that will do all 3 of these. They will cultivate, seed, and fertilize all in one go. So as you get up in equipment and money, you'll be able to purchase some of them. Then of course the last stage is your field is grown. So basically you plow 1 time, then you can cultivate and seed up to 3 times. You fertilize 3 times if you have it set up for that during a growth state. Now we'll go over and take a look at that now. You're going to want to go over to the map screen. No, I'm on the wrong. I gotta press escape. Go over to the map. Map overview. And like I explained in my last tutorial, there's 3 different categories here under fruit types. Now that shows me all the different fruit growing. I'm going to turn most of them off because I'm not using them right now. Then the next one over will show your growth stages. Now you can tell all these fields here, they're ready for harvest. They're right in that last stage. Now if they got beyond that, they'd wither and rot. But I have that turned off, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. All I want is these 4 on for the most part. So this screen here is going to tell me what growing stage that my crop is in. Now right now everything's ready to harvest, but some of these are growing, like that's right at its last growing stage before it starts getting ready to be harvested. So when you plant, here is your fertilizing stages. Now these are telling me all the fields that need to be plowed, but we're just going to turn that off for now and concentrate on this. Now I only had that set up for one fertilizing state, so that's why it's showing me the last one. But basically, like 24 there, if I just seeded that field and sprayed it, like if I had a seeder that sprayed at the same time or put fertilizer down, that's how the field is going to look. Then when that gets to the next growing stage, then it's time for the next coat of fertilizer. I keep flicking the wrong one. So basically, when you seed, it's going to be that color, and you're going to want to spray it, spray it, spray it for each one of them. If that makes any sense, I hope that makes sense. And that's how your fields work. So after you seed it, it's going to go through all these stages, and once it hits this last growing stage, it's going to slip into harvest time. Then it doesn't matter what time you harvest here either. You're not going to get more here than here. It's all the same across the board, so keep that in mind. It doesn't matter when you harvest. Just keep your eye on this color if you have your withering on, because after this stage they'll rot. So now let's look at some of the equipment I got set up. We'll look at some seeders and fertilizers. If I can find that one vehicle. I got a lot going on here. Past him, there he is. Okay, so as you can see, here is 3 different seeders. Now for the most part, this one, all this one does is seed. That's it. This one here is a step up. This one will basically cultivate and seed your field at the same time. Sorry, fertilize and seed your field at the same time. Now this one's one of the biggest ones you can get. This can do all 3. This can cultivate, seed, and fertilize all at the same time. So the way your seed works in this too, you're going to have to buy it from the shop, and there's one for your seed and one for your dry fertilizer. Excuse me. So that's basically how they work. And another thing you should know about seeders is there's different types of seeders. Now this here at the end is just for planting potatoes. That's all that's used for, is planting potatoes. This next seeder will plant your root crops, basically your sugar beets, your corn. What else does it plant? I kind of forget now. Actually, no, it's not sugar beets, it's corn and... Geez, I can't believe I can't remember that. We'll find out in a second what they are. Like I said, that very first one here that I'm passing is just for planting potatoes. That's all that's meant for. Then this one here, you can see down in the bottom right hand corner in blue, sunflowers. So this can plant sunflowers, and as I press Y, it plants peas, corn, and sugar beets. So yes, it does do both corn and sugar beets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 different fruit types that this one will plant. Now when I go from that one to this one, this basically plants the rest. So you got to remember that certain seeders only plant certain things. Now this one, as you can see down in the right hand corner, it plants, that is wheat. And as I press Y, that's barley. That is canola, peas, I'm not too sure what that is, I kind of forget, and grass. So this plants the most. But for corn and sugar beets, you're going to need that one there, and sunflowers. And for the last one, that's how you plant your potatoes. Now, I want to go over some of the fertilizers. Now, there's about 5 different ways you can fertilize your fields. We're going to be going over 3 of them. The 2 I'm going to be leaving out is slurry and manure. They're both poop products, and we have no poop. So we're just going to be going over here. Now, one of your fertilizer types is going to be a liquid. It's basically a spray. So you can buy that in either form. This one is like a pellet. It's like a dry pellet, and they both fertilize in the same way. It's just whatever you prefer to use. This is a seed bag where you buy from the shop and you fill these up. But the third one that I didn't mention here is you can grow radishes, and they basically work as fertilizer. I'm going to show you that now. I keep going to the wrong one. It's escape. These oilseed radish, and what you do here, basically after you have plowed your field, you plant some oilseed radish, and when that's ready to harvest, you don't actually harvest it. You take your cultivator over and you cultivate that right back into the ground, and that works as a fertilizer for whatever crop you're about to plant on top of that. So once you grow this and cultivate it back into the ground, then you can plant something on top of it, and that's one of your fertilizing states taken care of. You only have to fertilize it twice after that. So that is the 5th way you can fertilize your fields. Remember, 2, one is slurry, one's manure. I'm going to be covering that in a different one with animals. Then you have your liquid fertilizer spray and your dry fertilizer pellet. Now we're going to go over and buy a couple of bags of fertilizer. Actually, that's when I need this screen. Now that will be under pallets right here. Click on that. So you have seed bags, you have solid fertilizer bags, you have liquid fertilizer, a tank, and then that's for your pig food. I never got that far, but there's the different ones there. So we're going to buy a couple of solid ones right now. Now this is solid fertilizer pellets. I'm going to buy 3 of them, and I'm going to buy some seed bags. Okay, let's go back. There, we have some of each, and I will actually buy some of the liquid ones too, so I can show you the spray. Now if you're going to go with the spray, you're going to want to have to buy the liquid form. So let's buy a few of them. 2,400, it must have a lot in it. I do believe these bags here, yeah, they're 1,000 liters each. So it's 1,000 liters of seed, 1,000 liters of dry fertilizer, and 2,000 liters of liquid fertilizer. And that's 1,000 liters. Okay. Where is my tractor? There it is. Let's run over to this guy and we'll hook up here. Now let's take this dry one. This is the dry fertilizer bag. This is just going to take fertilizer, and that's it. See, the top automatically opens up when you drive by it. So that is putting the pellet in there from that gray one or that brown one. Now watch it disappear once. See? And that held 25%. This guy can hold 4,000 liters. So I just wanted to show you that at first. And then we'll hook to the liquid one. Can I pick that up from this side or the other side? I can't forget. That side. And now here's the liquid stuff here. And see, it even sounds like liquid going in. And that's that one. I want to go over to the seeders and show you that. So basically, as far as the seeders go, like Only the very first seeder in the game is one that's only going to seed. Like this, all it does is seed, that's it. One step up from the bottom, this one will do two things. This will fertilize and seed. This one will fertilize and seed. This one will plant potatoes. This one will plant those things. And then after you get up this high, like this guy will cultivate too. It'll do all three. So you just got to look what you're buying here. And this one's a good one. And like I said, that one's for these products. And see, even these bigger ones here, like that is actually better than this one, because all this one does is seed and fertilize. So you'll have to cultivate before using this. This guy here will do all three. This guy here you'll need to cultivate for, but he'll fertilize and seed at the same time. So you just got to look at those things. So yes, let me perk this thing. And I'll show you a couple of the different seeders. So like this one. This one will take both fertilizer and seed. And it'll have two separate compartments in it for that as well. Now watch when I pick this up. You can see that going in the fertilizer tray. And he's full of fertilizer already. Now I'll go over and get some seed from the darker color ones, or from the lighter color ones I should say. And watch, you'll see that go into the other compartment. See that? That's pretty neat. So now this guy's ready to go. So the fertilizer's in the green and the seed is in the blue. And this one will do all three. This guy does three jobs in one. He cultivates, seeds, and fertilizes all in one shot. Look at the top opening. See, he has his two separate bays. There's the fertilizer going, or the seed, sorry. Close enough, I guess. And there goes the fertilizer. So like I said, the spray you will have to get the liquid form, and the dry stuff comes in bags. And there's two different categories for these in the shop. There's your sprayers here, that's all the liquid kinds. And over here in the shop, here's your dry fertilizer tanks. And these work just as well. It's just whatever you prefer. This one holds a lot more dry stuff, so that might be a good option. That guy holds 20,000 liters, so that's going to go a long way, as opposed to this one holding 12,000. Even that guy, 4,600. Like that other one holds way more. So you get the idea anyway. I hope you guys enjoyed that tutorial. There'll be more tutorials coming your way. Just click on my beautiful picture down there in the corner if you haven't subscribed to the channel. And leave a like and comment if you want. And we will see you all in the next one. Take care.